I'll hold it so if it wobbles, it'll
We'll just all move in unison. It'll look totally normal.
yeah.
Time to get back on the trail.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We got roll call. Roll call. We got the P down there.
Pivot in the house.
Pivot, pivot. We got the D.
Hey.
There's Moon in the house. We got the Dubs.
You got speak Desert Moon.
Hello.
There you go. Desert Moon.
I am present.
Well, welcome to the P-D-DUUUUBS jam session.
Hi.
Yay!
Hi, world.
Yay! Yay!
Hi, world. It's been a while.
To
It's
be
been a moment.
together.
I'm gonna enjoy a beverage of bubbler that has some caffeine in it.
Ooh.
Yum.
Here, do you want some?
Mm.
Here, drink. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Here. Cheers.
Woohoo! Oh, of course, you got the D. There you go. Oh,
I just got
1,
tea.
2, 3. Here we go. Ding.
Cheers.
Well, so far this is going real well.
So I just have to let everyone know that our revenue is down and our TPS reports are revealing some very disturbing trends. So we gotta pick it up, people. Pick it up.
Mm.
Your Christmas bonuses are, well,
Not bonusing?
no, they're not bonusing at all.
Oh.
Shoot.
Mandatory
How am I gonna pay
overtime. Yay!
How am I going to pay for all my camping trips next year?
You know,
I've been wondering that myself for me.
that is the internal question. So actually, that brings up, you were going to say the first question, but I'm going to say it. Has there been any major life changes in the past year and a half since you've gotten off the trail?
Oh boy. Desert Moon, you go first.
Well, I had a baby.
Well, okay then. That was a big one.
Just kidding. Since I got off the trail, I got a new job, which I'm not thoroughly enjoying. It's not exactly my passion, but the hours work and the work is interesting and I'm learning some stuff and I'm working with a great group of people.
Mhm.
And I'm saving some money to spend on hiking trips. And I got the summer off and I get the winter off. So good job.
I think you have the best life. Best life ever. Okay, my turn.
Sure.
I got a new car. Well, first I got a new job, which I truly do love and enjoy. And I think it's such a peaceful place to be. And I have a great group of people that I'm working with, and I love it. And so I started off part-time temporary and quickly rolled into full-time permanent. So that was a surprise to me. And then because of this job, I ended up getting a new car, or being able to afford a new car. And then I spontaneously decided to buy a house. And now I'm poor.
I mean, as you do, as you do.
As you do, I, locked myself back into normal life. But I'm very happy about it. I'm very, very happy with my home and very happy to be here, happy with my job. And I am just focused on following where I feel God is taking me next, because that's how I ended up on the PCT to begin with. And yeah, just been very much going with his flow. And that is where he led me, was to buy another house. So I did.
Right.
And now I wonder how I'm going to pay for my hiking trips. But it's all good. I like it. It's been great.
Yeah, it's always the trade-offs with that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Woodsy?
Well, pivot. I did get a job as well. It took a while. It wasn't a job I expected. Getting back into working for the U.S. federal government has proved to be quite difficult, and in the time that it's taken me to get there, I've become less enthused with my previous line of work and all of that. So it's given me a lot of time to really think about, would I just go back to doing it just because it was a thing I did, or is it because I actually want to go back and do it? So yeah, I wrestle with that. But so I've been working for what they call them, a DSP, a delivery service provider for Amazon. I've been delivering Amazon packages. And so, it wasn't my life's goal to be a Amazon delivery driver, but I tell you what, there's the pluses of it that have that I really like. I really like how it is active because I want to be active. One of the big things kind of leads me to a question later, but because one of the big things getting out the trail is I got all this energy now and I've got like this physical fitness. What do I do with it? And I needed something to do with it. I didn't know what to do with myself, so it helps me channel that. And I get to drive around all day, and I get to walk around all day. And when everything is awesome, it's actually not a bad job, and I like it. On the other hand, it's also one of the hardest and most frustrating and stressful jobs I've ever had in my life. Even when compared to some of the jobs I've had where people are trying to shoot me. So it's like, because I've been attacked by dogs and I've been threatened by people and drivers are nuts on the road and Amazon is a giant company that, well, they're trying to make a profit by any means necessary. So it's, the human element sometimes gets lost in that. So yeah, it's been a trip. I haven't bought a car. My car is going to blow up. I'm trying to pay off my student loan debt. Pay your student loans, people. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still camped at the in my parents' basement. Yeah, 45. I live in my parents' basement and living the dream. It's awesome. And yeah, but the other thing that I do like about the job is it has afforded me time to take off. I took off 2 months this past summer, and part of it got to enjoy a week out in the Canadian wilderness with a certain pivot. And our lovely friend Nicole, shout out to Rockhopper. And yeah, something that I couldn't do in a normal job. I think if I was back with the Forest Service, if I said, hey, I want to take 2 months off to go hiking, they'd be like, no. And I'd be like, okay, I quit. And so that's what happened last time. So a horrible cycle. That's a long way of saying lots of stuff.
To be fair, Woodsy, if my mom didn't live in a 55 plus community, I'd be living with my mom too.
Hey,
In fact, when I am 55, I plan on selling this place. I'm moving in with her. So
nice. Nice. Yeah, it's our culture kind of frowns on that kind of stuff, but there's so many cultures around the world where the mixed
they
families
do live together.
live together. They pool the resources. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know. In this day and age of ridiculous inflation and everything costing a lot, we might see more of that.
Yeah.
There's actually a growing trend here where there's 3 generations living together. And it's kind of coming back. It's becoming more of I wouldn't say the norm. There's still a lot less people that do it, but it's not that frowned upon anymore.
Yeah.
Even in our culture.
Yeah.
In Canada here, it's becoming a necessity because it is too expensive to live alone. So part of the reason why it's becoming more of a cultural thing is because it's out of necessity, because we've been inflated out of being able to live comfortably on our own.
Yeah, I've heard it's quite bad in Canada compared to even the US, but the US, although I live in kind of the Midwest, which isn't as bad, but like anything on east or west coast of the United States is, yeah, forget about it.
I did not come prepared with questions, so.
Yeah, well, like I said to Leone, this is kind of an off the cuff thing, so
Okay.
Yeah, recording back on. So when I was back on the trail in on Superior Hiking Trail. I was doing my through hike. We were getting close to, our year since we'd been off, and I was like, it might be fun to check in with the folks, because so much of our lives have changed, and so much of them haven't really, because it's only been a year and a half. But you know, it was quite the experience that we went through, and a lot of people go through when they do something that's out of the ordinary, whether it's, climbing a mountain, hiking a trail, doing travel, getting deployed in the military. I mean, I wouldn't compare all of those things the same. They're not apples and apples, but when they do something that not a lot of other people do, and then you kind of go back to your regular life, it's like, you know, how how are things adjusting? Do people treat you
Mhm.
differently? Do you see the world differently? Do you feel differently, or are you just the same? It's like, yeah, I did this thing, and now I just go back to what I was doing before. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I thought it
Yeah.
might be interesting and fun, and I get to see both your smiling faces at the same time.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a different question than like your first question of like, what's changed? What have you been doing?
Yeah,
Because how you feel or what you think is not really the same as, hey, what kind of job do you have now?
yeah.
You know? So as an example for me, the reason I've been able to allow myself to get a car and allow myself to buy a house, because those were things that I was had zero intention of doing. I sold my house. In fact, the day we got off trail, like the day we finished, I got an offer on my house, right? So
Who's there?
like everything was lining up to like not go back into this kind of normal life thing. I had no intention of doing it. But coming home, I felt like a sense of peace that I've never had here. Like I've always felt, I don't know what the right word is, just out of place being here. I've
Mhm.
always felt that things were a struggle or that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. Everything was, it just didn't feel peaceful. My life has never, I've never been content with it. I've never been at peace with where I am in my lot in life. And all of a sudden, I finish the trail and suddenly I come home and I'm like, oh, like this, I actually love being here. I love, like, I'm at peace now. So I don't know, but also like on the trail, I really did feel like everything that had ever happened to me in my life, every kind of hardship or struggle or hurt throughout my whole life to that point happened again on the trail, and I had to face it. And maybe that's the difference, is that I actually faced all those things and walked through them this time. And I was able to let so much history go that maybe that's why I'm a lot more peaceful here now. But that was a huge change for me. And that's what allowed me to actually buy another house again, because I'm okay with it. I don't feel like running away anymore. Right. So, like, I have changed a lot just in how I feel within myself. I'm a lot more content than I ever have been. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
I I like
I
that
like
you
that.
say on the trail you, how did you say it? You faced everything that you've faced in your life before, but that's like on the trail you have to deal with it.
Yeah. You couldn't
And
just run
that's,
away from it.
yeah, and that's why when you got home you felt like everything had been dealt with. I
Mhm.
think I would 100% agree with you, and I think that's amazing. For me, it's more um if I encounter something now after the fact, I can kind of relate it to something that happened on the trail, which
Mhm.
is kind of the same thing, but just in reverse a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really nice lesson.
Yeah. I also feel like for me, because we did this big, huge thing and we survived it and we went through so many things, uncomfortable things, scary things that we wouldn't have at home. Like, I just feel like I can do anything now. Like I just have this sense of like that doesn't scare me anymore because the PCT was harder, or like I did this big thing. So everything else just like I just feel like I can do anything and everything feels less complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just to add to that, I think we also, even though it's a it's a great thing that you did, and I don't know if it's just me who does this, but when I tell people or they want to talk about it, I always downplay it,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and like a friend of mine just said the other day, we were sitting at the dinner table with her family, and she said, "Tell them what you did." And I was like, "I hiked across America." Yeah, but how long? Tell them how long, how many miles? And I was like, 2,000, 1,300 miles, like 2,000 kilometers, no big deal. And I don't know why I do that. It's like it was a huge thing. It was big. It was amazing. It was fantastic. It's something that a drop of percentage of people do. But I think maybe it's because I didn't complete the whole thing. I still feel like I have to hold back on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that because I do the same thing where people are amazed and they just think it's crazy how much I did do. And it's true. But in my head, I'm like, but I didn't complete the entire thing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that sense of being able to necessarily brag about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, we did do a lot of it and we still rocked it. We still did this amazing thing that you're right, like a drop in a bucket of people do. But and so like we shouldn't take away from that. But yeah, like when I talk about it to people too, I kind of downplay. And I also downplay it because like I've said this before, it's like people are like, "Oh, you were so brave." Like, "Oh, you were so brave. That must have taken so much courage." And I just feel like doing it wasn't the brave part. But I've been hiking and backpacking for years. It was just the natural next step for me to do. And so I don't view it as I was brave to do it. I view the brave part as like I was brave enough to walk away from my life. I was brave enough to quit my job, to sell my house, to walk away, to do this crazy thing that I wanted to do. And that's what most people get hung up on is like that they have a dream, but they're not brave enough to do what it takes to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I also think that when I'm talking about it, I downplay how great it is because it's like, well, it was just the natural thing for me to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's this, I don't know. It's not like I climbed Mount Everest. I don't know. I haven't
Well,
gone to the moon.
yeah, and it's like I do that a lot too. Is like, yeah, I hiked the PCT. Well, half of it. Of course, it's like, why do I need to? It's like I'm trying to like, I don't know.
Why do you need to quantify how
Why do I
much you
have to? Why? Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Why? Yeah, I hiked it. I hiked. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks hiking, doing something that most people either A wouldn't want to do or wouldn't do because they have A, B, or C. And a lot of those people, it takes a lot of courage to stay in their lives, take care of their kids, and they're buying, paying for their house and all that stuff. I mean, like my mom, and she didn't do a lot of stuff she wanted to do because she had to pay for all this, our life. So I'm really reaping the benefits of that now. So maybe it's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
forcing myself to be a little humble and also to, it's I think all three of us aren't really that kind of we're not like the hey, look at us, we're awesome and you all suck kind of people. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and occasionally we have run into those people and we're just like yeah, yeah, you do you, man. I think I'll go over here and do me. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too. And we're humble. I think being on the trail that long too is kind of like because you meet so many people that are doing the things and so many people helped you along the way. I think for me, It helped me be a little bit more humble and appreciative.
Mhm.
So maybe that's also why I don't like, I talk to people at work. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I hiked PCT. Well,
That's a
about
good point.
1,500 miles of it ish.
Yeah.
And then
That's a
they're
good
like, wow, that's nuts. I don't know, whatever.
it's a good point though, Woodsy, that we didn't do it alone and completely on our own. Like we had each of us individually and collectively had so many people helping us along the way
Mhm.
that like it wasn't a solo venture, even though we were out there on our own.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's hard to take 100% like egotistical credit for it
Yeah.
in a way, because like it is very humbling. Like
Yeah.
like if the people in Tehachapi hadn't helped me out when they did, I would never have done that second half. So I'm truly humble. Like that second half was because of them and because of you. And, so like it's not something that I just did on my own. It was a collective achievement.
Yeah.
So it's something that I do approach in a humble way. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do have to say, in addition to that, it really drives me crazy now that I'm home, the number of people that won't go on a hike with me
Oh, yeah.
because I'm this big hiker who did this big thing and I'm too good for them and they're not good enough to hike with me and I wouldn't want to hike with a newbie or someone who's a little out of shape. And I look at them, I'm like, look at me, I'm back out of shape. I'm
Yeah.
not, I am not who I was on the trail either, but it makes me really sad that I'm being almost in a sense judged for something that I did that I don't feel that way. I never felt bigger, better than
Right.
anybody because
We're
I've
not
done this.
elitists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people
I
people
don't
project that on us.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that I'm great for doing it. I don't think that I'm too good to hike with someone who's never hiked before, but I get approached that way.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people not want to hike with me because I've done this thing. To me, it makes me sad, and I also think it's kind of crazy.
Well, and I don't think this is
I
I don't think this is too personal, but our friend Nicole, right? We hiked with her backpacking, and she was like, "Well, you guys are like through hikers." But we understand what we've done, and we understand what your level is. So let's,
And we also
this isn't a through
understand,
hike. We're on
yeah,
a
we
backpacking
understand
trip.
what
Let's
we're
have
doing.
fun, and it's going to be hard, and we'll just
Yeah,
do it together, and we'll just
yeah,
make it through,
yeah.
And we're not going to
And
be like, well, I guess we're just going to have to leave you behind. No, of course not. Like we're here to do
yeah.
this together, so it's okay, And she was all right with it. Eventually, I don't think we've convinced her that she wants to go on a months long through hike.
No,
Right? But you know,
no.
it's
Yeah. I think it's just hard for others to realize that like we can remove ourselves from that experience and just do the normal things and it's okay.
yeah,
And we're happy to be doing it.
yeah,
Like, yes, I through hiked for many months. That doesn't mean that I don't understand what a normal backpacking trip is and what we're doing there, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What were
Just
you, what
because
were
yeah,
we,
I
you gonna,
think
oh, go ahead.
maybe people might find it a little intimidating because they see it as this huge thing that you've done that they haven't done.
Mhm.
But I mean, if people say that, yes, I understand that it's hurtful that they don't want to join you anymore, but that says more about them than it does about you.
Mhm.
Oh, always, yeah,
It's not like you're telling them, okay, I'm a through hiker and you're not, but when we get to the trail, this is how we're doing it because I have more experience. Like you're not doing that. So
No.
whatever insecurities they have, I don't know, they just got to work it out on their own.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so relating to people uh, can be a little bit when you've gone through an experience like you've lived abroad. and you've moved to a new country. I mean, it's like how do you how do you relate with people? It's like, yeah, I grew up in a completely different country and now I live in this country. I don't know what that's like. So, you know, if it sparks some curiosity, that's great. If it's like, well, I couldn't I couldn't
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't associate with you because you haven't lived my life experience exactly the same.
I I
I guess that
I
kind of
think
weeds people off for you. I don't know. But
that's a very important word that you use there is curiosity. Like if people are curious in how someone else does something that you haven't done, then approach it with curiosity and not judgment.
Mhm. Or preconceived ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Mhm.
suddenly maybe some of those preconceived ideas can be shattered a little bit with
Mm.
asking a few questions and things like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And my experience would be totally different than yours because I'm a different gender and people treat me differently than you. So my experience is going to be different. Like I solo hiked a lot. I hitchhiked a lot solo, and how would that be different? So I find that interesting. When you both share your perspectives on that. I really enjoyed um, your paper you wrote there, Leonie, about that because and like in my notes, like you have some different experiences than I have no idea what it's like to be a mother and leave my family behind,
Mm.
you know,
Right.
and I don't know what it's like to sell my house and stuff because I didn't have one. So
You
or
do know what it's
or
like to
leave
quit.
behind my pet. You mean you left behind Ren for so many months.
Yeah, that was really
But he
hard.
still loved you when you came back. He was
Yeah,
a little concerned, but
it was. Yeah. Actually, leaving Renly was the hardest part of the whole thing for me,
yeah,
for sure. And making that choice to leave him. I can't imagine what it, to leave behind your family, like your husband and your kids. And like, I just know how hard it was to leave a dog. And I honestly think if I had been married and had kids, I probably wouldn't have done it. I don't think that I would have had the courage to leave them. So like I admire you a lot, Desert Moon, for being able to do that. And
Well, thank you, but I think a lot of the credit should go to them too, because they were very
true.
supportive and very encouraging. And I think coming back from that, they've learned, I hope that they've learned to, if they have their own dreams that they one day have the courage to chase and, you know,
Yeah,
pursue because it's important to them, they must do it.
yeah.
It can be
And
done.
I do have to say too, like the amount of time that you and I spent together, and I, would overhear in the hotel room you talking to your family and stuff. Like, never once were they like, I want you to come home. You need to come home now. Like they missed you and they expressed that, but they
No,
never seemed to make you feel guilty for what you were doing. And
no,
even though you missed them too, like they didn't monopolize on you missing them to make you feel like
no,
you needed to come home. And that's huge. That is huge. Like your family is like, they were amazing to support you in
yeah,
that way because not everybody does. Not everybody is as lucky as you were in that way.
yeah.
That was amazing to see.
Yeah, and especially when I did come home and everybody was like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you, and now we can do this together and we can do that together." And all I wanted to do was like, I want to talk about the trail. I want to show you pictures. I want to show you videos. I want to share this. I want to share that. I want to oh, this joke was so funny and blah blah blah. And then after a while, I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, we've heard enough."
Yeah.
yeah. I've said out loud a few of our inside jokes that other people just can't
Yeah.
understand.
You had to be there.
You
Yeah,
had
you
to
To
really
be.
be
had
at
to
the
be there.
top of that summit.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of this time in the Pivot and Desert Moon did blah blah blah, and they're like, "Oh God, not again."
Here he goes again.
Here it goes again. Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even when you and I were backpacking with Nicole and we would say do
Oh,
something and we would crack up and she'd be like, I don't understand.
yeah.
And we're like,
Like,
sorry.
going nuts. I'm gonna be over here having my lunch. You guys can blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's definitely challenging trying to share some of those memories or moments with people who weren't there.
yeah.
But I mean, that's to be expected. There's stuff that only the three of us will ever be able to relate to.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff only one of us each will be able to relate to. So
Yeah.
that's normal. That's life, right? But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can still share.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
part of that, like for me, has been making the videos and
Hmm.
being able to share some of that stuff. And like, especially when we got to our section, August 11th and on, like, especially when we were having the hardest time, when you were sick, and then we hit the fires, and we had to turn around, and it was so cold and everything. How much fun it was to like those parts when we were just like stopping and just like yakking at the camera. I'm sure it wasn't just total gold and riveting for everyone. I mean, my my retention numbers are sky high during that stuff. But I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, and I'm glad we captured some of that because
Yeah.
that's some of the fun stuff. Like, you can have a great time getting to a summit, and it's bluebird skies and all that stuff, and everything was easy, but it doesn't make a super good story all the time. Sometimes it's like, yeah, it
Mm.
still does. But when you can come out of it through the adversity and you haven't done it alone, it's like I hiked this thing, I did it by myself. The end. Well, that's not very interesting, at least for me. So I appreciate that we capture that stuff and I'm able to share it with others, whether they get enjoyment out of it or not. Um, you know, at least I can
Hmm.
help. It helps relate the experience a little bit more than me just talking about it. About yeah, and then there was this time when like there was a big rock and we called it the mother rock, and I can just show it.
The mother
There's
rock.
there's the mother rock, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
so for me that's been gratifying, and part of that too is to while I'm telling my story, I found how much I contradicted myself even throughout that, and uh, I've come to realize how important I am. I was not out there alone. I never was, even when I was by myself. I wasn't, and yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah, something something that I definitely appreciate because I had friends and family back home too, and they helped me out a lot, especially my folks sending me care packages and all that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
even when it was just me and the lizards out there by myself and north of Walker Pass, I wasn't alone. There's also burnt trees there, keeping me company. So, how have you been, like sharing your experience? Obviously, Pivot also made videos, but you've been doing other things
Hmm.
as well. Maybe for some folks who haven't seen your channel, like after you got off the trail, what did you do to help share your experience?
Um, well, after I got off the trail, I continued to make my videos because I wasn't making them on the trail. So I spent quite a bit of time finishing those up. And then I did a couple follow-up videos answering questions. I had a lot of really great questions. Like, I think I did 3 or 4 videos of just question and answers because I had so many good questions being asked. Um, I meant to do like a gear review one, and I don't think that I did. By that point, I didn't really care.
Yeah,
And yeah, so I didn't do that. And I also I had intentions of doing like just statistics and stuff, and I never did that either. Yeah, I but then I also did I put together like a speech, a PCT talk. So I had given that, and I did record it, and I did put that on my YouTube channel also, where I just did a talk on my experience out on the trail. And it was a little bit of both the trail and like what you experience and what to expect as a PCT hiker, but also a lot about just the personal, like what I personally encountered, and some of my experiences with like starting with my friend, having her leave, what all entailed in that, and stuff like that, and then how I met like Leonie and then you, and yeah, just kind of recapped everything. So it was a little bit logistics, a little bit facts, and then a lot about just my personal story. I still want to write a book about it, but I just get stuck. I get stuck in the like, I don't know how to get it out. The story's in my head. I just don't know how to get it written down. So I work on it a little bit, and then I don't look at it for months, and then I write a little bit, and then I don't look at it for months, because it's just, it's been a struggle to just, I don't know, to actually put it into words.
Yeah.
Has been, because it's overwhelming, and I don't know how to say it and like encompass it all,
Right.
The videoing was much easier than writing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then over Leonie, writing is easier than the videos, so right?
I was just gonna say that for me, the video, so uncomfortable. But writing about it, I just find once I get into a groove, and I started writing every day, and I would do it like first thing in the morning, as early as possible, because I wake up, and as long as I don't start looking at my phone and reading news and looking at other stuff to fill my brain.
There's 2 foxes in our yard.
What?
2 foxes in our yard. I shit you not.
Take a picture.
I'm taking pictures.
I have to go see the fox in my yard.
Take us with you. We want to see it.
Oh, I'm on the desktop computer, so
Oh.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't forget about us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a fox break.
Fox News.
Fake
They
news.
live in the middle of a big city, so that would be a big deal to have 2 foxes in your yard. I don't think that's a common occurrence in Winnipeg.
Occasionally, I mean, I don't live in the city, but we're in kind of semi-rural, so that's cool when you see a fox going through our yard. Actually, don't see that much wildlife in my yard that much.
No?
Occasional bear, very occasional deer. Normally it's squirrels, and sometimes the lots of birds, obviously, but sometimes the neighborhood chickens will walk through it. Kind of fun.
Nice. Nice. I live by a creek, so I don't get animals in my backyard because the fence is too tall, but just outside our fenced area, there's usually deer, and then at night you can hear the coyotes howling. That's really creepy. Still don't like the sound of coyotes.
Yeah.
Desert Moon, you're back. How are the foxes?
There's 2 foxes in our backyard. They just jumped the fence.
That's
It's crazy.
That's
I'll show
crazy.
you the video later. I've seen foxes in our neighborhood, but never in our yard, like in our backyard.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. You're talking about you
Yeah.
writing. You
Oh,
pursuing the
yes. Yeah, so I had this idea a long time ago to write a book about my PCT hike, and then I actually made the decision to sit down and do it. And like I said, I was writing every day, and I don't know how much I got done, but I did it consistently for like a month and a half. And then I came across this local magazine that had a competition for a short essay. So I thought, I'm gonna submit an essay about the PCT and see if that gets me anywhere. Unfortunately, I won't have any feedback unless I win. Um, but still, it was a good experience writing it and then editing and submitting it to someone who may or may not publish it. So it was pretty cool. And since then, which was December 2nd, I haven't really got back into the swing of going back to the book, but I will. I think once Christmas and New Year's and all that is behind me, then I can get back to that.
Yeah.
And for our viewers, you wrote for the trek while we were out there, did you not? You were blogging for the trek?
I did blog for the trek, and I
Yeah.
think I had up to 10 blog posts, but I didn't really do anything after. Like once I came home, I think I did one more blog.
Hmm.
And they did have someone who asked us a whole bunch of questions, and I submitted some stuff for that. But other than that, I kind of just left that.
How did I not know that?
I
I
don't
had no
know.
idea you did that. You never told me.
Didn't I?
No.
No.
All right.
I'll send you the link. You can read them if you want to.
Yeah, why not? I had no idea. Oh, cool.
Yeah, they are pretty short, and I put a couple of pictures in. I think I did it more regularly when I started.
Mhm.
Towards the end there, I didn't. I think I did one in Snoqualmie, and that may have been the last one.
Okay.
Well, you didn't really have a phone after Trout Lake anyway, so
I know
hard to do after that.
it was a little annoying trying to
You love
do
keeping.
it on a phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that kind of. So you were doing some blogging. So you were doing some social media out to the general public, but you weren't vlogging like we were. What was it like being around people that were vlogging? Especially, I mean, me and Pivot were vlogging when we were together. Maybe you were with other groups of people that were vlogging too. Like, what was that like? Like having people around with the cameras that
I
you knew eventually might show up on some video or something. What was it?
Desert
I
Moon is like YouTube famous because she's on like so many different channels.
I quite enjoyed it because I was like, everybody else is doing the work, and I can watch all these videos afterwards and get the best experience because it's not me in front of the camera all the time. But I must say, a few times I've watched both of your channels, and I'm kicking myself for not doing it myself. Like I I took short snippets of video thinking that I would put it all together at some point, which I still have not done. But I would like to maybe make like a little YouTube video at some point.
Yeah.
You
That,
should.
so when we were in Mazama, I did an update and I actually said the words, I think I'll only make like 4 episodes because I don't think I shot that much. That's how clueless I was. Like I didn't go into like this hike was like, I'm going to make a series of videos for this. I'm going to vlog it. I was like, I'm going to shoot a bunch of stuff and maybe I'll make something. I have no idea. And that has been one of the unexpected things to come out of this is me making all this stuff and kind of being able to revisit my creative side. A lot of people don't know I actually went to school for graphic design and visual communication out of high school. I didn't go to school for forestry or law enforcement or any of that other stuff that I've tried in my life. I actually wanted to be well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a comic book artist, but I wanted to do something creative, right? I wanted to be an artist. And so being able to do these videos has been a way of me doing that. And so I kind of laugh when I saw that. I was just like, man, you had no friggin' clue. So I also know what you mean by you do something. I've been making the videos for a while, and then I just put out my last one after like, I think it was since July, since I had put out a PCT video. So like there was this big kind of gap there for numerous reasons. But yeah, I just picked it up again, and it took a little bit to do it. But then once I got the ball rolling and I started seeing some actual movement toward it, boy, it came together nicely. So I encourage you to keep picking it up every once in a while. I really want to read both your books because there'll be a totally different story than mine. Totally different perspectives. You guys have lived different lives than me.
Yeah.
And
And
you have different thoughts in your head than me. So, I want to hear your thoughts,
our reasons for being there were all very different too.
Quite possibly, yeah.
So yeah, if we all wrote a book, it would all be very different.
Yeah.
In the Venn diagram, there's going to be a lot, but then there's all of this stuff on the sides that I'm very curious about, and a lot of people probably are too, because we all obviously like hiking it to some respect. We're all at least interested in backpacking to some respect, and we're all like interested in being outdoors in some respect. But then there's all like these other differences that makes things interesting. And also too, it's like, you guys really developed a very strong bond. So that's also a story that is always fun to read too. So.
Part 2, all about Leonie.
Occasionally you had folks like me to come in and be like, blah, blah. Be like, yes, we can be closer now because we've got more. Yeah. Any questions on the top of your head? Because I got more.
You go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I may only have time for a couple more because I have another Zoom call.
Oh, double booked. Nice.
Not me personally. It's actually it's for Jared, but we want to be there because he's got a meeting with the new recruiter or
Oh, military?
Soccer.
Oh, soccer.
Soccer.
Oh, nice. All right, cool. Different kind of recruiter.
Football.
Yeah.
Well, just to let you know, although I am recording it, I am doing this instead of watching football, Vikings versus the Packers. So this is how much I wanted to make this happen.
Football sucks.
Yeah, but I'm an American, so we like Americans like our football. Real football. It's the Vikings, the Packers. Come on. It's like, woo.
Sports in general.
So my question is like, okay, now that you've done the trail and everything for people out there, has any of your like favorite like places or things that you may have said in our last video, has any of that changed? Like, any of your stretches of trail now that you look back that, oh, maybe actually that section was more enjoyable for me because A, B, or C or anything?
I think for me, I found it very interesting when I was making my videos in the Washington section. I was shocked at how little rain we actually encountered. Because in my memory and my feelings of Washington, it was friggin' wet the whole time. It rained the whole time. our tents were wet every day. But when I watched it back, I was like, huh, there was really only like maybe 5 days of
Three or four
rain.
days that were really wet and a couple more that were just kind of soggy.
Yes, but my memories of that time, like my takeaway from Washington was I did not enjoy Washington. It was too wet, it was too green tunnel, it was all these things. And then yeah, watching it back, I was like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. I still think Washington overall was a letdown for me. I I think honestly it's because it was too much like home. It's not that it wasn't great, and it's not that it didn't have its spectacular moments, because it did. It was just too much like what I can see at home. And I wasn't on the PCT for what I can get at home. And I think that's why for me, California really truly stole my heart, is because it's so different from home. And yeah, and NorCal specifically, I think, and probably in NorCal specifically because of the bond that I created with Leonie during that time. Like, you know, it just completely changed my hike joining forces with her. Um, so yeah, I think NorCal for me still truly does have my heart, but California in general, like I was watching on Netflix the other day, I've been watching the show Parenthood,
Mm.
and they're based out of somewhere in California, and they drive up to Bakersville, and they're showing all the desert mountains along the highway, and I was just like, oh, I hiked those. I'm like, I want to go back. Like, look how beautiful it is. Oh, I miss those mountains so much. Like, yeah, California for me just, it stole my heart. Absolutely loved it. Still love it. Nothing will top it. Okay, I'm done.
Leonie?
I I f- I find it interesting that you say Washington is kind of like Canada, what you've seen, what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the complete opposite for me because, as you know, Manitoba is like this. So anything on the trail except for maybe that section under the I-10 in California is basically nothing like I've ever hiked in before.
Yeah.
But when people ask me what was your favorite section, I always say Washington. And I don't know if I say that because of the scenery or because of the landscape necessarily. I think it's a lot to do with where maybe I was, like the frame of mind I had at that point in Washington was like, yeah, I just want to get this over and done with. But this at the same time, I was in my element. I was like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, and we can, do the 15 miles a day, and I'm feeling not comfortable with it. Like everything still aches and hurts and it's hard. But I just like towards the end there, I really felt like a hiker,
Mm.
you know, just the comfort level had gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
That is so interesting because, like, just from my experience being with you, like NorCal, you versus Washington, you were so miserable in Washington.
It was raining all the time.
And
Most
when it
mi-
wasn't
I
raining,
quote, most miserable 70 miles of my life going
when
to
it
Stevens
when
Pass.
it wasn't raining, you were in pain. And when you weren't in pain, you were feeling sick. And when you weren't feeling sick, like there was just always something going on. So I find it's just so incredible that like at the end of the day, Washington was like, that's the one you go to. And I
Yeah.
do find it interesting that like it's almost like, yeah, your most miserable places can be your most memorable or
Yeah.
because of like the adversity or whatever. Like those 3 days
Yeah.
in Washington when in the rain when we turned around, they were the most miserable days. And yet at the same time, we had a lot of fun moments in those days and we really pushed through
Yeah.
and made the best of a crappy situation.
Yeah.
And maybe Washington, like in its entirety,
Yeah.
encompasses a lot of that for you. Like you really did push through a lot of adversity in
Yeah.
Washington and like the friggin' goat rocks and
Yeah.
like yeah. I find
And
that interesting.
I think NorCal is like not to take away from NorCal in any way. Like I had a great time there too, and it was so nice hiking with someone who, we were on the same page, and it was like, yes, this is the person I was meant to hike with.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the best time too. But when I think back, it was so hard. It was so hard, and it was climbing every day. Like it was so difficult. Whereas by the time we got to Washington, it just felt, and I don't want to say easy because nothing was easy. Every
No,
day was hard. But
yeah.
when I think back about it, it's like Washington was so much easier.
I will say
Yeah,
it
totally.
is easier to hike not being in 100-degree weather for sure. I'll give it that.
I look back and there are several times in Northern California that I legit was going to quit. I, well, I don't know that I was going to quit, but my mind was telling me, dude, what the hell? Like, you don't have to be doing this. You have nothing to prove. Yeah, you did. You had to sacrifice a lot for this, but you don't have to do this. You can just go home. You're obviously having a bad time. But a lot of that was just mindset, really. It was hard and everything, but I was just it wasn't in a good mental space, and Southern Oregon too. I think that area trail is just fine. It's a lot of blowdowns, but I think I would have enjoyed it more in a better space, and I think that's why when I did skip up and hike with you guys, I mean, number one, I'd been looking forward to Washington, and I had been to Washington multiple times before I ever got on the PCT, so I really enjoy that landscape and um, yeah, yeah, it was the best time. It wasn't all sunshine and roses, obviously. We had tough times, and um, but it's definitely, especially that first section into Snoqualmie Pass. I mean, it was just, I mean, it was amazing. Um,
Mhm.
and then the last 3 days north of Harts Pass. I mean, just wow. Um,
Yeah, that section was beautiful.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and I love me some desert, boy. And I would totally go hike the first 100 miles again, just for fun.
Mm.
Not in like I'm gonna go, um, hike the entire thing again. I mean, I would just go do it because I liked several sections within the first 100 miles a lot. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. Which before I did Washington, I would have said that section on Zabrego was my favorite. Um, but
Always.
yeah, but
Always. That section up to Eagle Rock, that will live forever in my head as the best, like heaven, best place I've ever hiked.
yeah,
Just that one day.
just the one day.
Just
Just the one
one
day.
day.
The flying, I'll hike
It was
mile
beautiful.
100 to 106 and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Not the whole mountain range, just the one
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Just those 18 miles.
Nice. Um, okay, well, that's a question I kind of alluded to. Do you have any interest or plans to hike all or part of the trail again?
Are you
Or
going to tell
do it?
him or should I?
I'm gonna let you so that it's forever out there for the world to see, so that you have to hold to your word.
Well, Pivot and I have made um, I don't want to say a promise, but we have made a plan to do some hiking together every year.
Yeah.
This year we met up in September and we hiked the flattest trail in Canada.
Woo, woo.
It was amazing.
In
Sounds like it.
Saskatchewan.
And it
And
was surprisingly tough for as flat as it was.
yeah, it wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be.
No.
But oh, I should say we committed to one another that every year we're going to get together and we're going to do at least 2 weeks of hiking. So this year or next year in 2025, we're going to meet up somewhere in Alberta or BC and hike 2 weeks together. And then 2026, we're going to do 4 weeks together. And we're going to go back to Ashland and pick up on the PCT where we left off
Yes.
and hopefully get to Bridge of the Gods.
Yes. And we're so excited to be doing that. We debated.
We
Sorry,
talked about doing it in 2025, but we're going to put it off till 2026 and hopefully I'll still be young enough to hike that.
You will be. We had initially talked about, doing like maybe 2 weeks of Oregon in 2025 and then the next 2 weeks in 2026. And we just both kind of felt that if we're going to go all the way there and do it, it would be better if we could just do the whole thing. And so Leonie gets summers off, so it's not a big deal for her currently. But for me, I had a review at work coming up. So during that review, I broached the subject with my boss, and he said that giving him enough notice, he can make that happen for me, that I can take a month off work so that I can do this with Leonie. And I mean, he hired me knowing that I'm crazy and like to do these big kind of hikes and stuff. So I don't think he was super shocked when I asked if I could have a month off, and he's probably happy I only asked for a month and not 6 months. So but yeah, so that's why we decided that we would do it in 2026 so that my work has enough time to get in place what they need to give me a full month off. And yeah. So we're super excited, and we're super excited about our future plans. And yeah, it's been really hard not living near each other. We're not that far away, but it's so expensive to go see each other. So and it's been tough not being able to just go over for coffee. So yeah.
And WestJet always makes it more than an adventure than it should be. WestJet.
Go WestJet.
Yeah.
I can personally attest to that.
Fuck WestJet. I mean, I'll still fly with them.
Yeah, they'll still take your money. I'm very much if when I got off the trail, like I didn't know what I was gonna do, if I was just gonna go back to my life, how it was before or whatever. But the trail just keeps calling me, and this year I thru hiked the Superior hiking trail, 300 miles, and that really just lit that up for me again. Just the lifestyle, being on the trail more than a week or two, I mean, it was only 18 days, but it was like, it was like it passed that threshold of I'm on a backpacking trip, which, we did that backpacking trip in Banff, and but it was just a different it was a different thing. Both great in their own respects, but I just I really want to do a long through hike again, and I really love the PCT. There's a reason why I chose that as the thing that I wanted to do because of the landscapes. And now that I've done it, large sections of it, I've also like the community around it. I love. But something I got more of a taste of on this Peregrine Trail is more of the solitude. And whereas I went into the PCT the first time looking for more of that community, which I know I'll find again, but I also want to hit some of the places that we missed because of environmental reasons. And so I think with the trade-offs, I'm going to hike the PCT again, but I'm going to do it southbound. It'll have its own set of challenges, its trade-offs, but I really want to get out there. I really want to see the places that I missed, and so I'm also planning on being on the PCT in 2026 again, southbound. So we'll see. There's things that I have to do in my life to make that happen. There's a promise I made to myself before I started the PCT the first time is before you do another huge long thing like this, you have to get yourself out of debt, dude. You're living with a chain to your leg and you got to get rid of it because it just makes things more difficult. And so that's what I'm working on right now, getting debt free and then working on getting that money together so I can do this again. And so that's my plan. As you know, plans change. Kitty.
Hello, kitty.
I had planned on doing some hiking on the PCT this past year, and that didn't happen. So, things change, and opportunities sometimes come up that you can't let pass by. But that's my plan.
We'll high five you, Bridge of the Gods.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe you'll pass by me and I'll be sleeping in my tent again. Like, oh, Woodsy snoring away at 7 a.m.
We'll wake you up
He's
this
not gonna get
time.
to
We'll wake you
Campo
up.
sleep until 7 a.m. every morning.
Oh, I have a cat joining me too.
Is that Spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did mute myself when I picked her up because she was full of complaints. I didn't want you to hear that. She just wants to be YouTube famous like me.
Nice.
Her name's Cinnamon, by the way. Make sure you put that in the video.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Special
The
appearances.
title, the title will
Spirit.
be featuring Cinnamon and a couple other people. But we got a cat named Cinnamon.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear you're going to get yourself out of debt because that's never a good place to be. And that's incredible. Good for you for wanting to do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
If I like knowing what I know now, I know that through hiking, that trail is not for me. I'm a section hiker, and that's okay.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we're all section hikers.
True.
How many sections you want to put together?
Yeah.
But no, I get it. I mean, I am very fortunate to have the support network I have right now. My job that I have is not my career goals. It's a job that foots the bill. Maybe I'll get a different job in the meantime, but I'm not looking to jump back into a career right now. There's just so many things I want to do that this time of my life, I mean, while I have the physical ability and the desire, I really want to capitalize on it. I mean, that's why I did it in the first place, like, so will it change me? Will it fill any holes in my life? No, but it's something to do that I really am passionate about. So, yeah. I think, and by doing some of these too, it has unlocked so many things I never even imagined. Like meeting awesome people, getting to make like art again, and maybe I'll turn that into a career. But it's like I get to express sides of myself that I wasn't able to, or I wasn't allowing myself to, because I was too tied up with doing things that weren't aligned with who I am. So yeah. And in the meantime, I get to spend time with friends and family and all that fun stuff, which I didn't get to when I was living in a far off place in rural Idaho. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
My
not
friend
to
Matt.
be
So shout out to Matt and his family. It wasn't all bad.
that is not to be taken for granted. Like, enjoy your family and spend the time with them while you can. It's, you never know when somebody's last day will be, so
Yeah.
that's an absolutely great reason to just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no rule that says by age 45 you have to have this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And yeah.
I think that is one thing that's really great about the place that we live in now, like the stage of society that we live in now, is that it is becoming more okay for alternative lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
And it is okay to be 45 and not have a house, not have a family, not have a spouse. It's totally okay to live what would be considered an alternative lifestyle instead of the norm.
Yeah.
Like I know in my early 20s and 30s, I tried the norm and I hated it. I hated that life. It just wasn't for me. And the freedom to be able to find out the life that I did want to live. And I think that was all a build up to the PCT, was to get to that point where it's like I'm happy with the choices that I'm making and the life that I am living for me, and not because society tells me that I should be. And yeah, I think it's great that more and more people are becoming okay with that and accepting that for themselves. Because I know, like for Woodsy, like you really struggled with that, getting off the trail with the whole, oh, I guess I got to go back into a career now. So, I'm really proud of you that you've pushed through that and went like, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. I still have things I want to do. And that's great. Yeah. You don't have to have a career. Careers are overrated.
Well, we talk a lot about society's pressure on us, but I think we tend to put
It's our own pressure.
We put that on ourselves, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I project a lot.
self-induced.
Most people could give a shit what I do. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my mom does. My mom and dad do. Thanks, mom and dad. But I mean, they just want the best for me at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I have to go.
Okay.
Well,
Not that I'm not enjoying this. I'm loving this. This
Mm.
is fun.
I thoroughly appreciate your time and your attention, and thank you for being here with me today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I hope you got some content that you can use.
Well, maybe a couple
Little tidbits.
a couple tears in a Woodsy video too.
Just use the cat's appearance.
Yeah, that's just the thumbnail. Just
Yeah.
you guys holding cats and me just being like, oh, I wish I had a cat again. Make me miss my cat Sylvester.
Oh.
But no, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hang with old Woodsy and reminisce on the trail. And
Yeah,
this
and
is nice.
thanks for doing this. And I really appreciate both of you for your YouTube channels because that shit's on the internet forever. And whenever I miss the trail, I can just pick up on episode 28 or whatever it is and just play it and just be right back there. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. We did it just for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's all I needed.
Yep.
Yeah,
Invalidated.
that's that's what it's for. It's
I got
for
one subscriber, and
free.
you're the only one that matters.
Ditto, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, how about we not wait another year and a half to hang out together? Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe someday we might even hike a little bit of trail together again. But
Well, if there's any good trails in North Dakota or Minnesota, let me know
I
because
know
it's a
nothing
short
about North
drive.
Dakota. Minnesota, Superior Hiking Trail. It's my trail, but it doesn't look very interesting to you. But it's awesome.
Yeah, because Manitoba has basically one, and it's 3 nights on trail. That's it.
Well, what you don't have in trails, boy, you do have in canoeing. Wow.
We got all the lakes.
Oh
Come
yes.
on over and canoe. We could do a canoe trip.
Manitoba is, yeah, you can go up against Minnesota, pound for pound. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, guys.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you. Bye. Miss
Bye.
you.
Miss you too. Love you guys.
All right.
Oh, I don't know how to sign off.
Just walk away. Get up and walk away.
Just walk away.
Still here.
Mic drop. Boom. How you like that? How
Oh,
you like
there
them
she
apples?
goes.
There you go. There you go.
I'm still here. I can
Oh!
still hear you.
Well, that desert moon. Oh, I'll tell you.
Oh,
I
dear.
seriously don't know how to get out of this Zoom.
I don't know.
So it's okay. So, well, hopefully our Kumbaya session will brighten your day a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it back to the way that it was. That was better than what it is now.
Okay.
One moment, please.
Technical difficulties.
Ugh, my whole life is a technical difficulty these days.
Lesson 1,
No.
go.
Oh,
Oh, we're doing that
Yeah.
already? Oversharing? Do we overshare? We don't overshare.
I
we?
do. I know I do. I've definitely drawn the ire of certain people in this
overshare.
room, I think, because of that. Never. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, then. Hello, I can't hear you. Turn on your audio.